What's up, Raider Nation? We are back. We just finished the draft yesterday, and we are here to talk about it. Now, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about these picks that my man Mike Mayock made. And Mike Mayock went in and did some Mayock magic. That's right. Mayock picked 7 players in the NFL draft. And I look at this draft, and I look at this draft class, I see 7 players that could easily make this roster. But let's get into it. First up, we got Henry Ruggs, wide receiver out of Alabama. Now, Henry Ruggs is one of those guys that I talked about in my previous videos, talking about how he could be one of the top receivers gone. It was Ruggs, Jeudy, and Lamb. Me personally, I thought we were going to go Lamb because he was that more complete wide receiver. But John Gruden wanted to go for speed. You see what they have in Kansas City with Tyreek Hill and the speed that he brings to his team and what that offense can do. And John Gruden wanted a piece of that. This pick is very reminiscent of the late, great Al Davis. I've seen comparisons to Cliff Branch. I've seen comparisons to Tyreek Hill. What I see with Henry Ruggs is he's a player who's going to be able to get out there, get the ball, make some moves after the catch. He's going to get tremendous yak. He's good on the deep balls. He's a player who's going to open up the offense. He's exactly what the Raiders were lacking last year and what the Raiders were missing on offense once we lost a certain wide receiver, that which we will not speak of, with frozen feet and all that. What I expect to see from Henry Ruggs, I expect him to be able to take on that part of the playbook that was made for AB and utilize that. And John Gruden has so much more to use now because he's got a player that can utilize the playbook the way that AB did. So getting that playbook to him, getting him comfortable with Derek, building that chemistry and getting those players out there, I expect to see big things out of Henry Ruggs. I'm excited about this pick. With their second first-round pick, the Raiders decided to go defense. They took Damon Arnette, the cornerback out of the Ohio State. Now, Damon Arnette wasn't a guy that we talked about much. We didn't see him in a lot of mock drafts going to the Raiders. It looked to be as he would be a guy that would be maybe a second or third round pick. And from what I saw and what we heard is Mike Mayock tried to trade back, tried to get back into later in the first, maybe in the second. But 1, he couldn't get a trade to work. 2, he felt that Damon Arnette was not going to be there when he picked next, and that was a guy that he really wanted. What Damon Arnette brings to this team is he brings physicality. He's a big body corner who's going to get into a wide receiver's face. He's very physical at the line. He plays excellent in man coverage. In his 4 years in college, he only gave up 1 touchdown. Now, we talk a lot about Jeff Okudah and what Jeff Okudah did on the opposite side of the ball. And the reason why Jeff Okudah had a lot of the success that he had, and I'm not taking anything away from him because he's a tremendous corner, but a lot of the success that he had was because people weren't throwing to him, they were targeting Arnette. And when they were targeting Arnette, Arnette was still holding it down and doing his thing. And so while a lot of people looked at this as a reach, I looked at it as a reach in, day one. Now looking back on it, getting some time to reevaluate these picks, see some more tape on Arnette, I'm excited about this pick. I think that he's a guy that you can go in. He can compete for that starting position aside from Trayvon Mullen. And he's going to be a guy that's going to bring physicality. He's going to bring tenacity, but he brings that dog to this defense. Now, we're going to talk a lot about dogs today, and I'm not talking about the Westminster Dog Show. What I'm talking about is the dogs that we have on this defense. They have built a big-time defense. And I'm not talking we're looking at the top-ranked defense. I'm not saying, that we're going to lead the league in every category. What I'm saying is this defense on paper has significantly improved. So the question on day 2 was, were the Raiders going to get into the second round? We found out very quickly that they had no intentions on trading back into the second round. They were very comfortable where they were at in the third round, and so we saw that whole second round come and go, and when the third round came, the Raiders did some damage. And this is where I got really excited. Day 2 was the most exciting for me, and this is why. You get a guy like Lynn Bowden. Lynn Bowden is a quarterback, he's a wide receiver, he's a running back, he's a kick returner. He is the Swiss Army knife. He's like a Taysom Hill, like a Dante Hall, like a Charlie Garner. He is that guy that you can put in on an offense and line him up anywhere, and he is a threat because you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know if he's going to throw the ball. You don't know if he's going to run it. You don't know if it's a jet sweep. You don't know if it's a pass, if it's a catch, whatever it is. Lynn Bowden is a guy that's going to go out there and make plays. He's incredibly fast. He's incredibly smart. He's had some issues with fumbles, and that's one of the things that concerns me, but those are issues that you can fix. We saw that Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington had some issues with fumbles early on. They started to correct those a little bit. You know, DeAndre Washington is now with Kansas City, and you look to see as Bowden as being that replacement for DeAndre Washington. He's great at catching out of the backfield. He's a good runner. I don't expect to see him as an RB2. I think that they still bring in a larger running back to spell Jacobs to be that short yardage, to be that goal line running back. But I do see Bowden being a instrumental part of this offense, getting him involved in more ways than just running the ball. Now a guy that excites me, this is my favorite pick of the draft, is Bryan Edwards. Bryan Edwards, wide receiver out of South Carolina. Dude is a monster. Guys, it's going to go up. He's going to get those 50-50 balls. He's going to get the contested catches. He is a tremendous red zone target. You put him with a guy like Foster Moreau in that red zone, and you've got some dogs. At the Combine, Mike Mayock said, we need to get better in the red zone. What did they do? They went out and got a guy who is great in the red zone. I'm excited about the Bryan Edwards pick because this guy reminds me a lot of one of Carr's old favorite receivers, and that's Michael Crabtree. He's got better hands than Crab, but his yards after the catch, his ability to make plays, his ability to go up and get balls, his tenacity, his physicality, he is a guy that you want to see on this See, I'm talking about him as if he was a defensive player because that's how he plays. He plays like a linebacker who was taught how to catch footballs and make yards after the catch. The dude is a monster. I'm really excited about Bryan Edwards. As we go down the line, this was a pick that kind of stumped some people, and where I think a lot of people liked the pick, I think they didn't like where the pick was at, and that's Tanner Muse. What I like about Tanner Muse is a phenomenal special teams player. He has a nickname. It's a special teams war daddy. Special teams war daddy. Man, when you got a name like that, you know you're out there headhunting. You know you're out there looking for blood. You know you're out there trying to make something happen. But what we also see is he's a good defensive player. He's a hybrid safety role where he can play the linebacker. He can also play that safety position. He's a guy that you look to see coming in. He's probably going to play linebacker on defense, and you look to see him learn right behind Corey Littleton, which is a great spot for him. Corey Littleton is a tremendous outside linebacker. He's going to do a great job mentoring him, making him into that next level guy, but you see him as a rotational guy who's going to be able to come in and make some plays. What excites me too is Mike Mayock said, hey, where we have deficiencies on this team is covering tight ends. So what did he do? He went out and got a guy that can cover tight ends. And Tanner Muse, it does it as good as anybody else in this draft. And so I'm excited about Tanner Muse, not only for the defensive side of the ball, but more importantly, the special teams aspect of it. You know, Rich Bisaccia is sitting there just salivating at the mouth, waiting to get this guy on his kickoff team, on his kick return team, on his punt team, on his punt return team, on every one of these special teams that he has, because he knows he's got a skilled special teams player who is very cerebral about the game and is going to take it to the next level. Now we go a little bit of size, and I'm going to keep it over here at Clemson because Raiders are Clemson West. We've got more players on Clemson than we do from any other squad, it seems like. And it seems like we keep dipping back into that bucket because we're getting some playmakers from there. We took Big John Simpson out of Clemson, offensive guard, who looks more like an offensive tackle. Dude is big, he's mean, he's physical. 6'4", 321, bench press at 225, 34 times at the Combine. He is not a guy that you can push around easily. And the reason why I like John Simpson is because he is a guy that you can look at as that rotational guard, but also if we need to replace Gabe Jackson, who they've already said is going to be the starter this year, but if he gets traded, if he goes down with injury, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen, he's a guy that you can put in and can fill that position. He's not going to get pushed around. He's not going to get bull rushed. He doesn't give up a lot of sacks. He's a guy that you want in your interior line, along with Rodney Hudson, along with Richie Incognito. He's a physical playmaker. on that offensive line. Now, when you talk about playmakers on the offensive line, you say, well, what is that? They don't get the ball. They don't score touchdowns. Well, actually, he does. And that's why I like John Simpson. We know that we needed some interior linemen, and Mayock went out and got it. Now, with the last pick and what the Raiders did in the draft is something that I had mocked in the 3rd round. We got Amik Robertson. This dude is the definition of say it with your chest. Kevin Hart said his Uncle Richard Jr. says, say it with your chest. This is what it means. At 5'8", cornerback, this dude is a ball hawk. He's physical. He's mean. He talks like he's 6'2". Oh, that makes sense. He's best friends with Jonathan Abram. Dude is a dog. In his video when he got drafted by the Raiders, showing the pure joy of being a Raider, getting drafted, that is somebody that I want on this team. He's a player that you know is going to put in 150% effort every single time he plays the game, and that's what excites me. So Raider Nation, what are your thoughts on this draft? I mean, we talked a lot about some players that were picked. I gave a lot of great attributes. I talked a little bit about some of the deficiencies they have. I'm not going to rain on a lot of these guys' parades. These are rookies coming into the NFL that have spent, 20, 21, 22, some cases 24 years perfecting their craft, trying to live out their dreams. They're on the biggest moment of their life until they make it to the Super Bowl for the Raiders. But what we want to see is we want to see this team continue to get better. And what we're seeing with Mike Mayock, with John Gruden, with the pieces that are being put in place, we see a team that is being built for the future. You're not just building for win now. You're not just building for win 20 years from now. We're talking about win for the next 20 years. And I'm excited about that. Derek Carr got a lot of weapons. I'm excited for him to show out. We got some more defensive weapons. I'm excited to see what Paul Guenther does with these guys. I want to see this defense get better. I want to see the offense get better. I want to see us score more points. I want to see the Raiders return to greatness. And that's why I'm trying to make the Raiders great again. And I can only do it as a fan by rooting, by cheering, by doing what I do. That's what we do as fans, right? We love our team. We live for our team. We get excited about our team. And now we've got a general manager and a coach who want to do the same thing. Raider Nation, thanks for checking us out. I'm really excited about what we're looking forward to this season. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out my other videos. Raider Nation, we are going to keep rocking this thing. And also, don't forget, I got the giveaway. So if you guys are looking for a chance to win a autographed Hunter Renfrow mini helmet, signed autograph by the GOAT himself, Hunter Renfrow. It's brand new, never worn because it's a mini helmet. Make sure you're liking the page. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, sharing it, hitting the alerts for notifications. Raider Nation, thanks for checking us out. I'm out. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know how Jay-Z does this shit in one take. Like, I gotta write shit down and go over through, but anyways.